We ask these things in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
The Greek language, Koine and classical, is probably the most perfect language that's ever been used by mankind. In English, we have the case of the subject and basically the case of the object, subjective and objective, okay, subject and object. In Greek, there's 8 cases, and I want to name them with you. I want you to follow them. So it's nominative, genitive, ablative, locative, instrumental, dative, accusative, and vocative. There's 8 cases, and they're singular and plural. Okay? Singular and plural. There are 3 declensions in Greek that we use. 3 declensions. In other words, 3 of them are declined like this. You have o, a. That is nominative, genitive, oblative, locative, instrumental, dative, accusative, and vocative with a case ending. All right? All right, that's just one declension. Okay? I don't want to scare you to death away from Greek, because we're going to teach the Bible. We're going to learn Greek as we learn the Bible, is what we're going to do. But Greek is a gigantic language. It is so big. Better shut this thing off. It is such a gigantic language. Now, there's a lot of things online you can get. But my recommendation to you is to go online and buy this old, simple Zondervan's Analytical Greek Lexicon. In the New Testament, it has every word with every meaning in it. It was printed in the 1970s and 80s, and it's got a blue cover on it. That color right there, I've worn this thing out so much that I had to put leather on it to keep it from falling apart and glue it and everything else. I've used this thing for 40 years. Every word in the New Testament is in here, okay? In the New Testament. Greek is a giant language. I'm going to put that up here to the camera so they can see it out there. They'll look at it all over the world, wherever this thing goes. Anyway, that's an analytical Greek lexicon.
No.
There are Thayers. There are Moulton and Gaddens, Bauer, Arndt, and Gingrich. I could just sit up here and just name off gobs of Greek lexicons. But this is the grandfather of all of them right here. This is Liddell and Scott. Okay? Pay attention to this one. This is a complete Greek lexicon. This is not an analytical Greek lexicon like the other one. But this is what, it's over 2,000 pages, and that's how small the print is. Okay? That's how small the print is. It's over 2,000 pages. This is Greek. Okay? Now, I have studied profane. I've studied classical and Koine and a little bit of modern Greek. And when I began the class, I told you a little bit about the history of the Greek language. I can't repeat it every time or else we'd never get anywhere. But in that little Greek grammar that I wrote, it tells you the history of the Greek language and the evolution of it, okay? Now, you can come up here and look at these books later on. This book costs a lot of money.
Now, who's the publisher of this one again?
Zondervan was the publisher of this one. They have new ones later. And in your book, when I tell you a page number, like I'll say Ace, page 119. Whatever, what page are they on, okay? It will be in that page, in that one. You just look that up and you can read everything about that, okay? It'll tell you about it. Now, that is not a grammar. You have seen the Greek grammar. The full Greek grammar looks like this, about this thick, but it's smaller, by A.T. Robertson. A.T. Robertson wrote that. Actually, John A. Broadus wrote it, and A.T. Robertson put it together. That was his son-in-law. Greek is a gigantic language. Why is it so important? Why are we studying Greek? Okay? We are studying Greek because the New Testament was written in Greek. Not only was the New Testament written in Greek, but in the Old Testament was translated from Hebrew into Greek. And some of the oldest texts and comparisons that we have, that's why I keep going back to the Septuagint, the Greek Old Testament, is the Septuagint was translated about 300 BC before Christ. Okay? Now, when they discovered the Qumran caves, we have some very good Hebrew manuscripts of the Old Testament. Okay? But pretty much all of that had ceased to be. The Hebrews, the Jews, spoke Greek. And in Jesus' time they spoke Greek. When Paul wrote, he wrote and translated and quoted the Greek Old Testament except on occasion. When Jesus quoted or spoke in Aramaic, it will quote in the New Testament, in the Greek, will quote Aramaic. When he spoke Hebrew, it'll quote Hebrew. You'll find it. Okay? Talitha Kumei. What was that? Anybody know?
That's the little girl.
Maid, young lady, arise. That's Aramaic. When he said, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, what did he quote? Psalm 22 and verse 1.
Yes.
All right? That's from Hebrew. Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. That's Aramaic. All right? So there we have both different languages. It's very important. Now, there are all kinds of denominations out in the world, aren't there? If you study history, you can study and you can trace those denominations, which I've taught church history. And how far are you in church history?
Just a couple of classes.
A couple of classes, it'll just blow your mind.
Yeah.
Okay? That's a good class. You go on to discovertheword.com, just look up church history, and there's 26 classes there, and you can start studying all of them, okay? But the Bible, the New Testament, is written in Greek for a reason. So nobody could take a scripture out of context and make it say something that it does not say. As simple as that. Because we know every verb, every noun in there is inflected. And what do we mean by inflected? Do we have any Spanish people in here right now? Anybody speak Spanish? All right. Mijo. What'd I say? Mijo. Okay, now, that's inflected language. Isn't it? So you knew exactly what I said. I said it in different ways. That's inflected. Okay? Now, in Greek, you'll know exactly what part that word played in that sentence, in that verse. You can't take a word out of a verse and try to make it mean something else, because it is going to be absolutely a fact, truly there, and you can't mistranslate it. It's going to be there, just exactly like it's supposed to be. Now, with all the doctrinal issues that we have in the world today, if you study the Bible in Greek, you're going to just erase a whole lot of it. I've told you this before. If you are theologically sound, as you study Greek, it'll either make you understand the Bible better, and it'll confirm what you believe, or you just maybe have to bend your thinking just a little bit and realign it. And it'll take every tiny issue and do that. Every tiny issue and do it. Okay? It's going to be there. Now, we're in the book of Romans, which is a miniature Bible with every doctrine in the Bible in it. Okay? Every doctrine in the Bible is there. And we're are we in 11 and 1 tonight? Is that where we are? 11 and 1. Romans 11 and 1. Romans 11 and 1. Now, as we go here, if you have a question, I don't want to chase rabbits too far, okay? But I will answer your questions if I possibly can, if I know how to do it. All right? All right. What is the first word? Can anybody read that? Lego. All right? Un. Me. Autosato. Ho. Theos. Ton. Laon. Autu. Now look at that word autu there. If it was just, if you just had that word right there, could you read that in English?
Yeah.
Just exactly like it is in English, okay? May. Genoito. What's the next one? Well, somebody that doesn't know Greek, you could read that, couldn't you? That's kai, okay? And then gar, ego, Israelites, Amy, ek, spermatos, Avram, Philes, then I made. All right. Now, let's look at some of these things. We're going to chase some words tonight a little bit. They're very interesting words, if we can get that far. All right. Lego means, look at here. Now, let's conjugate this word Lego. It is a verb. It is a first person singular, present, indicative, active. Now, the conjugation of that is oase, omen, edi, usi, Say that. Oase, omen, edi, usi, Now, I didn't mean to scare you. Okay, but that's how you conjugate this verb in this tense. Okay, so we know exactly what it is. I say. We looked at it before. First person singular, second person, third person, plural, singular and plural. The nouns have singular and plural, but there's 8 cases now. The verbs, we have 3 persons, singular and plural in Greek. All right. So if you took Lego out of this, could you say you said it? Could I say you said that? No. Who said it? I said it. You can't take that out and take that word out, that verb out of that sentence and try to make it say anything else. But people will do that ignorantly in some denominations. They will do that, and they'll try to start a doctrine on something. Like I said, now if you're doctrinally sound, the Bible is just going to confirm whatever you believe. If it is not, if you don't believe correctly, you got to change just a little bit. Okay? I say therefore not. We have a particle of negation there, page 268, and therefore is 295. Also, if you want to write those numbers down, you can go back when you get one of those analytical Greek lexicons and use them to look it up. Okay? And then aposato. He has thrust away or placed away. All right? He has thrust away or placed away. Third person singular, first aorist, indicative middle. For himself. It means to repel or push away. Now, the God. God did it. God did this. Paul is saying here, and he said, I'm saying God. God is what? We got a whole here, don't we? Whole. Whole is a definite article. All right? That's nominative singular masculine definite article. All right? It is describing theos, which is nominative singular masculine. Same person, number, and gender. This is where, right here, if you just took one verse in the Bible, you could thrash the Jehovah's Witnesses with John 1:1 and John 1:14. You wouldn't need anything else. Because it's going to tell you exactly who God is, and that He is not a God, and Jesus, Jehovah, is the God, and He keeps on being the God. All right? You can't get around that. Now, anybody that's ignorant of these languages, you can tell them anything, and they may believe it, they may swallow it or not. All right? But you don't have to swallow it when you know Greek. And it'll defend itself. I taught a class on Jehovah's Witnesses here. If you want to go to discovertheword.com, you can see there's 6 or 8 classes there, about an hour and a half long at each one, and you can listen to Mike McBrew. He's a former Jehovah's Witnesses, and I had him in this class, and he would speak a little bit, and then we would take the Bible, and we would give you how to reach their answers and all their twisted up scriptures that they taught. You can go and look at that, okay? The Bible will take care of that. He placed away the God, the people, tone, look at that word, tone, laon. See laon there? That is accusative singular masculine, second declension word, tone. That's a definite article. That's accusative singular masculine definite article. All right? And then auton. That's genitive, singular, masculine, third person pronoun. Now, we won't get into this like this every time, but I'm just kind of doing this just to let you know what's there, okay? I'm not going to... If I taught Greek grammar, you would go to sleep and die right there in your seats, okay? I used to teach Greek grammar, and I saw people just die in their seats. And I was dying up here teaching it. I could do it, but I don't like it. I'd rather teach the Bible and get something out of it and learn Greek at the same time. It's good. Okay? May is another particle negation. Okay? And what is it in Greek? I mean in Hebrew. What's the word for not or no?
Lo.
Lo. Thank you. All right. Genoito. May it become. Third person singular, first aorist. Optative. Look at that word. That's an unusual tense, isn't it? Or mode. Optative. First aorist, middle, and optative. Even. Chi there is not a conjunction, but an emphatic particle. Page 208 still. Then we have gar. A conjunction or casual particle, page 75. And then ego. Now here we have a first person pronoun in nominative singular. All right? Nominative singular. You can go all the way to personal pronouns and go singular and plural. Masculine, feminine, and neuter. Isn't that big? That's something, isn't it? All right? We're not going to go do that every time. I'm just telling you. Okay? Israelite. Yishrael. Yishrael. What is that word? Yishrael. It comes from Greek. I mean Hebrew. They just brought it over right straight into Greek. What does Yishrael mean? Where does it come from? Huh? Come on. It comes from Ser, doesn't it? Ser means what?
Contentious.
It means what?
Contention.
It means contention, yes, but what does it really mean?
To wrestle.
What?
To wrestle.
Well, to wrestle, yes. But it means prince. Prince. It's a prince. Okay? Or princess, if it's feminine. And it means to wrestle. Sarai's name was one who fights. She was contentious. She was a fighter. Her name was Sarai. Okay? Sarai, which comes from the Hebrew word ser. Now, Israel. Now, how did Jacob... Yoakum. Okay, Yoakum. What does Yoakum mean? Jacob.
Supplant.
Huh?
Supplant.
It means to trip or to grab by the heel. It means to trip up. It means trickster. All right. In Lakota, it's miacha. All right. And that means coyote. A fox. Tricky one. Okay. All right. Jacob was a tricky one, wasn't he? He was a trickster. All right. But God changed his name to Israel. Israel. Because El means God on the end. And then he's a wrestler with God. What he did was he wrestled with God, and we know that he wrestled with God, the Son, and he was so tenacious in holding on to Jesus. He said, I will not turn loose of you until you what? Baruch. Until you bless me. All right, until you bless me. And we're going to see a little bit about that. But he wrestled with God. That's what Israel, that's what it means. So, we will look at that. So, Sarah, Sarai, and Israel are all from the same root, aren't they? Mm-hmm. How many of you have ever heard that before? Anybody? Whatever, it's good. You know, you did? You were in class. Huh? All right. Israelites. Amy. I am. Here we go. Now, this is a to-be verb, but it's first person singular, present indicative active. ABA estim. Just like that. It's conjugated, but we're not going to trace all of those every time. Ek is out of. That up there, that sign up there says eket. That means out of it, is what it really means, out of it, and it comes right from this Greek word right here. All right? And then spermatos, what is that? Seed. Our English word sperm, our medical term sperm comes from that. And it's zerah. Zerah in Hebrew, zerah. All right? And then Abram. Abram. We know who Abram was. So what is Abram? It's actually, it does not have Abraham in here. But Abraham, Abram means what? Exalted father. Abraham. Exalted father of a multitude. All right. And it has the fifth letter of the Hebrew alphabet added to Sarah and Abraham, doesn't it? 5 is the number of what? Grace in the Bible. All right. Phillips, tribe. Tribe of Benjamin. Benjamin. Ben is son, and Yamin, what does it mean here? Son of the right hand. Son of the right hand. All right. Now, who's writing this letter to the church at Rome? Paul the Apostle. What was Paul's name? What was his Hebrew name? Saul. Okay? And that comes from the Hebrew word Sheol. Sheol. Sheol means what?
Grave?
No, not grave. Don't say grave. Queeber's grave. Sheol was what?
Place spoken.
The place asked about. Who else? Randall? What is it, Randall? The place asked about. Now, the first king of Israel was whom? Saul. He was the one asked for. Did not Israel ask for, call for him as king? God was going to give him. God was going to give Israel a king, but not yet. The king was young, but they wanted one right now. Now, we want a king right now. So he gave them one, the one they asked for. And he was a problem child, wasn't he? Saul. All right, so here we have Saul, and we have his descendant called Saul. Paul's name was Saul, which means one asked for. He was a problem, wasn't he? Just a little bit. Now, Jeremiah 31:37, 33, 24 through 26, Luke 20:16, Philippians 3 and 5, 2 Corinthians 11:22, 1 Samuel 12:22, Psalm 94, verse 14, Psalm 94 and verse 4. These are all part of this cross-reference to this verse. And by the way, it's looking back because there looks back to 9:16, Romans 9:16 through 33, and 10:19 through 21. That first verse there, the first word there, third person singular, first aorist, indicative middle. He has thrust away for himself. He has repelled. Now, who has, Rebecca, do you have your Amplified Bible opened up right there where you are? All right, 11 and 1, verse 1. Amplified Bible is kind of an explained text. It's not perfect, like no translation is perfect, but it's not too bad. That's why we read it. Go ahead.
I ask then, has God totally rejected and disowned his people? Of course not. Why, I myself am an Israelite, a descendant of Abraham, a member of the tribe of Benjamin.
All right. Now, not may it become. That optative mode there, see where it says OPT, that's optative. That means a mode of hopeful affirmation. Not may it become. All right? Its first aorist is punctiliary in action. But not may it become. Let's go to 11 and 2.
It's not doing anything.
Thank you, Harry. The machines aren't working right. Wait for a minute here and see if I can get it to work. Maybe it'll work at least partially. I'll have to take that off the tape and redo it anyway. All right, 11 and verse 2. Thank you for looking at that. I need somebody to go around and look at all these things every now and then. Thank you, Harry. I appreciate that. I hope this one's rolling. Okay. Uk. Apasato. Tothios. Ton. Laon. Auton. Hon. Proegno. A. Uk. Oidate. In. Eliah. T. Legay. He. Graphe. Hos. In. Toxtane. To. Theo. Kata. Ton. Israel. Now let's go back and look at this one. Psalm 94 and verse 14, Romans 8 and 29 and 6, 16. 1 Kings 19 and 10, actually 19, 1 through 18. Not he has put away the gods, not he has placed away, not he has thrust away, not he has thrown away. Okay? The God, the people of him. Whom, what? Whom he foreknew. Look at that word whom there. That's accusative singular masculine relative pronoun. All right? It could be host. That would be nominative singular masculine pronoun. All right? But here it's accusative. The people, and look at that word laon. See the word laon there? In tone laon, we have the definite article, same number, gender, and case as the noun that it's describing. And then the relative pronoun is also going to agree number and gender and case with it. Now here we come to the action, he foreknew. He has foreknown. All right? He knew before. Third person singular, second aorist, indicative active. He knew it for a long time too, didn't he? This punctiliar in action. When did this take place? On that chart up here. Where did it take place? In eternity past. God laid out plans before he ever did anything. How many of you ever wanted to build something? You just went down to the store and started buying lumber until you run out of money. And you didn't draw up any blueprints, but you got out there and just started driving nails and putting boards together. Is that the way it's done? That's the way some people do things. I can tell you that's the way some people do things, but I'm going to... That a lot of times that Jesus said a man to start building a tower, and he ran out of money and labor and everything before it was finished, and he was a laughing stock. And God's not a laughing stock. Back in eternity past, he figured out everything he was going to do. Now we live in a world today that's just absolutely tormented by Satan, don't we? I hear a lot of people say, well, if I don't think much of a God that lets all this stuff go on like this. Who's the God of this age? Satan is. All the things that are going on, all the bad stuff in the world is not God doing it. It's Satan doing it. We're going to get him out of the way one of these days. You ready? Anytime if the Lord wants to rapture us up and take over, that's fine with me. Right now, I'm ready. Not he has placed away the God, the people of him, whom he foreknew, or not, ye know, ye have known. Look at that one. Second person, plural, perfect. Perfect tense means what? Ye have known. Okay, ye have known. In Elijah. Elijah. Now what does Elijah mean? Elijah. It comes from El and Yah. All right, who is it? Elijah means God is God. Or Jehovah is God. By the way, John 1:14 says God is Jehovah. And John 1:1, it takes the name of Elijah. God is, or Jehovah is God. John 1:1 says, in beginning, kept on being in the beginning, kept on being the Word. The Jehovah and the Word. And the Jehovah kept on being part of the Godhead. Kai, Logos, Aim, Post, on Field. All right? Because he kept on being God. He always was. Elijah portrays that. John 1:1. Okay? Elijah, God. Jehovah is God. What? It says, the Scripture, what she says, the writing, literally. Look at that word, hey graphe. Hey is what? What kind of definite article is that? Feminine. That's Nominative singular feminine, all right? What says the right? The writing is talking here, and the writing is feminine. The Bible, as we look at it from the Hebrew standpoint, she is feminine. She is the feminine, all right? What says the Scripture? How he whines and complains to the God, dative singular, masculine, to the God, definite article, dative singular, masculine, that's theos right there. See, that's dative singular, masculine. Remember what the 8 cases are: nominative, genitive, oblative, locative, instrumental, dative, accusative, and vocative, so it's dative. 2 or 4, okay? Against the Israel. Now, here we have Elijah is talking to God, and he's complaining to God about Israel. Israel was bad. All right? Israel was being real bad, the nation was. 11 and verse 3. 11 and verse 3. And by the way, Rebecca, just read that real quick while you're over there. You've got that open, I know. 11 and 2.
No, God has not rejected and disowned His people, whose destiny He had marked out and appointed and foreknown from the beginning. Do you not know that the Scripture says of Elijah how he competes with God against Israel?
All right. Now let's go to 11 and 3, and we're going to look at this one just a little bit longer. 11 and 3. Kyrie. All right, that's vocative, singular, masculine. Remember what I said? Os, on, a. A is vocative. All right, second declension word. It's vocative, singular, masculine. Kyrie, tous, propatos, su, apek, pene, ta, das, Tyriach. Su, Kateska Son, Kago, Hipelethein. All right, now that word there, Hipelethein. See the word, that O with a vertical slash through it? That's a phi. My name Phillips comes right out of that. Right from Greek, Th, all right? And then theta. See the theta there? Thane. That O with a horizontal slash through it is a TH sound. All right? Ahipelethein. Monos. Kai. Zetusen. Pain. Psychane. Mu. We got a word psychology out of that word psychane there. All right. Lord, the prophets of you, they killed. The altars of you, they dug down, they pulled down, and I was left behind or under only. And they seek the soul of me. Now in Hebrew it says, I was zealous for Elohim Sabaoth. Elohim means what? That comes from Elohim, but the ending on that means my God. Okay? And then Sabaoth means what?
Suffer.
What?
Suffer.
Sabaoth, it means
Rest.
Sabaoth, the Lord of armies. All right? Sabaoth, Jehovah Sabaoth, the Lord of armies. The Lord of armies. Okay? Elohim Sabaoth. They have forsaken your barith, your covenant, the sons of Israel. That's what it says in Hebrew now. And it talks about the in the Septuagint now it says the word Lord here is Kyriou Pantokratori. Now the Apostle Paul is paraphrasing. He didn't quote the Bible straight out of Hebrew, and it didn't quote it straight out of the Septuagint, the Greek. He's paraphrasing it to fit in exactly what he wants. Last week, I think we looked, maybe, I don't know, this class, I teach 3 classes a week, so I get mixed up sometimes. All right. we go and we look at different scriptures, and we see the different ways that the name of God is used. And you can tell many times the very terms. In the Hebrew here, it said Elohi Sabaoth. Okay? The Lord of armies. In the Septuagint, it says Kyrie Pantrakotori. All right? And it means the Lord Almighty. Now, Sabaoth also means the Lord of armies. What is the word for Almighty? What is the term in Hebrew for Almighty? Shaddai. El Shaddai. So it's actually not coming through exactly like that would have been El Shaddai. Okay? Now let's look at this. Acts 7, Stephen. 1 Kings 19 and verse 10. Lord, the prophets of you, they, in Hebrew, it says they cut down with a sword. They cut down with a sword. Okay, what literally says. They cut down with a sword. Third person plural, first aorist, indicative, active here. Apophene, it took their lives. And then the altars of you, they dug down to the very bottom and completely spread the altars out where you couldn't even find the altar. All right? And I was left behind. I was left under a log someplace, is basically what it's saying. Only. All right? And they keep on seeking the life, the soul of me. Now, Israel was kind of like Daniel's image. How did the head of Daniel's image look? Nebuchadnezzar's image, you know, in the book of Daniel, what was the head made out of?
Gold.
Gold. What were the feet?
Clay.
So it went from gold to mud, didn't it? From gold to mud. And that's exactly what, God called Israel out. He called them with a holy calling, didn't He not? He elected them to be His people. He elected Jacob over Esau, which was the firstborn, didn't He? God elected him. That's just the way it is. He said, Jacob I loved, and Esau I what? Hated. A lot of commentaries will say He loved him less. It didn't say He loved him less. It says He hated him. Why did God hate Esau? He was a profane person. There wasn't anything good about him. All right? He lived for the moment. That's all. He didn't care anything about the future. He didn't care anything about anything spiritual at all. Period. He was a man of the hour. You walk out here and look in the streets of Bakersfield, go down there on 19th Street, downtown, go out there at Valley Plaza if you want to get real high class, and you'll see nothing but this type of Esau running around out there. The ones that all buffed out and everything, they don't care about anything else, chains around their neck and all that. You know what I'm talking about. Harry used to guard those kind of people, didn't he, Harry? A lot of Esau's up there in prison, weren't there? Yeah, a whole bunch of them. God said, I hate them. And a lot of people say, God is love. Well, God is love, isn't He? God is love. Let me hold on just a minute. God is love. But God is just, isn't He? Now, God loves, and God, we see this. We studied the 5 points of Calvinism here a while back. Tulip. Tulip. All right? Tulip. And I told you that I was a sub-lapsarian. And most of the writers of all of what we call systematic theology are sub-lapsarians also. They just looked at all this stuff and finally they came out and said, well, that's what I believe right there, okay? Anyway, it's a total hereditary depravity. All right, if you want to write this down. Unconditional election, limited atonement, irresistible grace, and preservation of the saints. Okay? What it means. Period. All right. Now, God is a God of love. And I believe, and of course, to many scriptures in the Bible, that God provided salvation for everybody that's ever been born on this earth. But I'll guarantee you one thing, it is not applied to all of them. It is not applied. It is not effective on all of them. And God also prepared hell, didn't He? That's a real thing. And how long is hell going to last? Huh? Forever. Ace Tony on. That's the olam in Hebrew. Ace Tony on in Greek. It means ages upon ages upon ages upon ages. How long is heaven going to last? All right. Well, then we know that hell's got to last that long too. That's over here on this little map right there. Okay. We don't. It's not nice to think about things like that. One time I was in a church and I preached about hell. They 86'd me out of that church. They didn't like that. They asked me a question about hell, so I just decided I'd teach about it. Just off the cuff, and boy, there was people crying and going on about that thing. One time, a long time ago, I had a bunch of people come to church, so there's a lot of Catholics in there. A whole bunch of them come in. And they came to prove me wrong as I was teaching. That's what they said. Their wives were coming to the church, so they came to prove me wrong because they were going to pick everything I write down and sit and go to the priest, and they were going to prove I was wrong. And I preached on hell one night, and boy, this boy came down and he gave his life to the Lord. He repented of his sin. He wanted to be saved. He didn't want to go to hell because that's a real place. I revealed that to him. That's real, and I showed him the Bible where it's real and it lasts for a long time. He didn't want to go there. Hell has to last as long as heaven, because God is not going to take them people in hell and put them in heaven. God is not going to make anybody be saved against their will. Here we have irresistible grace. Now, I just want to say this. Nobody that was ever saved ever successfully resisted the grace of God. Well, that's true, isn't it? Yeah. But I will tell you something. Some people have. I talked to the last couple of classes I taught. We talked about gospel-hardened people. They hear the word. They hear the word of God. They hear the word of God, and they just harden their heart. And like I said, my teacher used to say, "Boy, if you're here lost tonight, you better leave right now, because when you hear this message, you're going to be in a hotter place in hell than you were before. You'll be judged according to this lesson." All right? He did that. Make people shudder and their hair stand on their head. They keep on seeking the life, the soul of me. Well, so God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. It doesn't say just man there, does it? For God so loved the cosmos. He's going to redeem all of us actually one of these days. All the whole world and the galaxies and everything, except for one little thing. Sophon Scotia. That bottom of hell out there. That's what we call the garbage pit of the angelic and spiritual and the human world. The garbage pit. 13, file 13, okay? That's a hard thing, but it's there. See, these are Bible doctrines. Paul talks about all these Bible doctrines here. Now, Israel went from gold to mud. All right, from gold to this. Let's look at the word love for just a minute. We talked about that. Now, you can write this down if you want to, because this is different words. I talked about agapeo means what?
Love.
Love. Agapeo, what kind of love?
God's love. Well, it's a love which is somewhat follows and is not contingent upon the response of the object of love.
It is an unconditional love. It's an unmerited love. It is the love that you will lay your life down for something, or your eternal soul. I read a book one time that said all different words they use in the Bible, and people say that agapeo means godly love. But look here, the Pharisees says that they loved the praise of men rather than the pleasing God.
Is that agape?
That's right. What does it mean? Sacrificial.
Mm-hmm.
It means they will give your life or your soul for it. Did they love the praise of men so much that they gave their eternal souls for it? They sacrificed their eternal souls for the praise of men. For their religion, they sacrificed their eternal souls. Agapeo. Page 2 in that little analytical lexicon right there. Agapeo. If you want to write it down. I got it. Let me see if I can find some of my instruments here. Agapeo. I don't know. Like that. Either way. Page 2. That's a sacrificial love. That's a devotion. All right? Now let's look at another term, and then we're going to compare them. You got agapeo down there, and then philo. Philo. All right? Philo. What does that mean?
Well, it's the love between equals.
It's a very strong affection.
Yeah.
It's a very strong affection. That's what it is. It means to like deeply. It means kindness. It means affection. Philandros. Philandros. There's a word philandros in Greek. Philandros. It means husband loving. A woman that loves her husband. Philandros. We get a word philanthropy. What does the word philanthropy mean?
You're generous.
You're generous. You love to give. All right. How about Philadelphia?
City of brotherly love.
City of brotherly love. So we have all these words coming from that. All right. Now, philo. Philo. If you go into this monster book there, this monster Liddell and Scott right there, that's on page 425 and 426. You look at this word philo. Okay. Philo. Philo. Now the word, now let's get into another word. This is a scary word. What is that word? You Greek scholars? Poneria.
Poneria. Oh, yeah. That's,
we are very familiar with this word. And I've heard a lot of people say, well, it's not love. Oh, yes, it is. I guarantee you it's an attraction, it's a love. Pornography. What are some things? Women and men get attracted to pornography, and it is an attraction there that they cannot lay down because they love it. All right? They love it. Pornography. All right? Poneria. Prostitution comes from that word. Homosexuality. Do you think homosexuals don't love each other at least for a while? For the moment? Prostitution. What to make prostitution? What people, that business has been going on for a long time, people. There's an affection there. There's a drawing there. There's a love to it.
Oh, there's profession in the Bible.
Huh?
Oh, there's profession in the
Hell.
Bible.
In the world. It's make-believe love, though. It's make-believe. It's not for real. It's lying love. The word poneria means to twist something up. Like the word prostitution. All right? Prostitute, male or female, will get out there and make you think that they love you for a moment. They lie to you. That's what they're lying to each other. They're using a natural attraction for gain. That's what we call twisted love. But it is love. Okay? If people get attracted to pornography, little children sometimes, I hear things on the radio, like Christian radio, people that have been plagued by pornography since they were 7 or 8 years old. All right. All right. Storge. By the way, page Pornerio, page 1447 in Liddell and Scott, and page 336 in the Analytical Greek Lexicon. And also poneria means the love of vice. Vice, V-I-C-E. What's vice? Huh? Vice squad, you know. All this is the love of vice. Okay. What is the vice? The term vice. What does it mean when you think of the term vice? Something that has got somebody a hold of it. Yeah. Matthew 7:22 and 7:11. The love of money. The love of money. Poneria of money. The love of money. So that poneria is love. Okay. Then let's look at the word storge. Storge. All right. Storge. Store. Gay. Storge. Storge is a love for a father for a daughter, or a father for a son, or a mother to a daughter, or a mother to a son, or brothers and sisters, or a father and mother loving each other. That's storge.
Is storge ever used in the New Testament?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes. It's used in the New Testament. Page 57 in that little analytical Greek lexicon right there. It talks about the absence of love, of natural love. That little 57 there. All right. Page 1650 in Liddell and Scott. Let me go to page 57 here and read you what it says. Read to you what it says correctly. Maybe I will if I can find it. Astorgos means to, on the front of that means what? On the front of the word awe means what? Negative. Astorge means a natural or instinctive affection, devoid of natural or instinctive affection, without affection to kindred. Romans 1:31 and 2 Timothy 3:3. Without family love. This is what we call a total reprobate. Okay? All right. By the way, to miss the mark, you know, many people make a mistake and say hamartia means to miss the mark, which it does not mean that. On the same page, down just a little bit, is stokio, and that means the future is aso, first aorist, estokasa. It comes from alpha and stokos, which means to miss the mark. Astokio means to miss the mark, not hamartia. Hamartia means to go out of the pathway. All right. The word chatha in Hebrew means to miss the mark. Thayer made a little bit of mistake when he wrote his lexicon, and he put down there, hamartia means to miss the mark. So everybody followed suit, but it does not mean that. See, when you get real deep in Greek, you can figure out all the mistakes they made. Okay? You can figure out the mistakes. The lexicons do have mistakes in them. Don't ever forget that. Study. When somebody tells you something, hamartia means to miss the mark, go look it up and find out what it really means. I did that one day. I heard my Greek teacher told me that. And I said, well, I'm going to trace it. I just decided one day I'm going to trace that word down. And boy, was I red in the face because I taught that too. It doesn't mean that. But this word does. All right? Now let's get back on our subject. Eros. Eros. Here's another word for love. Eros. All right? We got a word erotic out of that. Eros comes from the Greek god. His name was Eros. It's an Ionic word. It comes from Ionia. In the Greek dialects, if it goes all the way back before classical Greek into the what we call the dialects, and that word started out in Ionia, where they named their god of making up after people get mad. The god Eros. When man and woman got mad at each other, they would go make up, and this is what we call erotic behavior. Okay, that's when they kissed and made up. All right, they get mad, beat each other up, and then kiss and make up. All right, that's old Eros. Page 691 in Liddell and Scott. All right, because you're not going to find it anyplace else. Only going to be in Liddell and Scott. It's not in the New Testament. So you can probably go online and look up Liddell and Scott. I don't know whether it'll be on the same page numbers as what I have in this printing right there. That is, I believe, Oxford, if I remember right. Yeah, Oxford. That's over there in your part of the country, isn't it? All right. All right. That's Liddell and Scott. Let's go back now. I hope you learned a little something from that. Now, there's one little scripture that I'm going to show you the difference between Philo and Agapeia. before we go on any further. Go to John, the 21st chapter. John chapter 21. I taught this in my Greek class before, but most of you have not heard it. All right? So those of you who have heard it, you get to hear it again. And those of you who haven't heard it, get to hear it for the first time. John 21. And we're going to figure out verses 15. I must have thought that verse was really important because I got 3 markers in there.
This is where he's talking to Peter.
Yeah, here we have Jesus. Jesus is talking to Peter. And I'm going to read it to you out of Greek. I'm just going to translate it for you. You read whatever translation you have, okay? When, therefore, they had broke fasting, he says to the Simon Peter. Simon means what? Comes from Simeon. Simeon is what? One who hears. Simon means one who hears. Peter, Petros, means what? Little stone. Little stone you can throw. Okay? The Jesus. Simon, son of John. Oh, now, Simon, son of John. Agapos. Agapos is what he says. Do you love me? Will you give your life for me? Now, what happened? What period of time is this? Here in John, the 21st chapter. This is after Jesus has already been to the cross. And remember what happened? The night before that Jesus, he was arrested, wasn't he? He was arrested. He was arrested and tied up and hauled off. Peter grabbed the sword and cut a guy's ear off with it. And Jesus healed the guy's ear. And Peter said, I'll die for you. And the Lord told Peter, he says, Peter, before the cock crows 2 times, you will deny me 3 times. So within a 6-hour period, a rooster crows at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock, 24 hours a day. That's God's time clock, okay? So between here and here, he was going to deny him 3 times within a 6-hour period of time. He told him how long. Peter disagreed. I will give my life for you. I love you, Lord. I will lay down my life for you, Lord. So now, after the fact, did Peter deny the Lord 3 times? Sure he did. We know that's a historical fact. He denied him 3 times before the cock crowed 2 times. So after they had broken breakfast, Simon Peter, son of John, do you love me more, play on, than all of this? All of these things out here. The fishing industry, your boats, everything else, your life. You know, he said, I go fishing. That was what his occupation was. He said, I got to go make some money, guys. I'm running out of dough. We got to go make some money. We're going to go catch some fish. And they didn't do very well either, did they? He said, do you love me more than all these things? And he says to him, Lord, Kyrie, Lord, yes, Lord, you completely understand that I like you. Philo. I like you. I didn't mean I will give my life for you. He said, I like you. Okay? I like you a lot. I have strong affection for you. And then he says to him, Boske, which means Boske ta ania. It says, feed, give milk to my baby lambs. That's what he said. Give milk to my baby lambs of milk. Then he says to him again, the second time, Deuteron, Simon, son of John, do you agapos me? Do you love me with a sacrificial love? And he says to him, yes, Lord, you know that I like you. Philo. He would not say he loved him. He said, I like you. And he says to him, shepherd the grown sheep of me. I want you to go out. I want you to take care of them. I want you to spank them up straight when they need it. You know, a shepherd had a staff and a what? A rod and a staff. The rod was for what? Whooping the tar out of them, and what was the staff for? That was to catch them. That was a crooked thing, you know, like an old chicken catcher. it had a, here we have the staff like this, and then we have the rod. Okay? And sheep are a lot like people. They are. In that movie that I have here, that George Grass, the one up there, they would whip those sheep. You'll see them whipping the sheep, making them beating the tar out of them, and making them swim. They didn't want to go in that cold water. They beat the tar out of them and made them swim. And they made them, and they beat them with a rod. Okay? And they would catch them with this thing. Okay? Let's go on a little further now. So they would correct them with a rod and catch them with a staff. Notice how that I like you. And he said, shepherd the little the sheep of me. And he says to him the third time, Simon, son of John, do you like me? He asked him if he loved him this time. Do you even like me, Peter? Do you even like me? Now here's the contrast between these two words. If you don't have this, you won't see it, okay? And he was grieved, Peter. And he said to him the third time, do you love me? Hard to say. Do you love me? I mean, do you even like me? And he said to him, Lord, all things you know. And you know that I like you. And he says to him, Peter, feed my sheep. I want you to totally shepherd my sheep. I want you to totally shepherd them. Let's go on back now to